I was having a conversation with a colleague of mine today from London. Both of us have been in the holistic health and beauty and spa business for 35 years, a long time. We've both been teachers, examiners, we're both business consultants now within it, even though we teach. And we were both talking about the travels that we've had and the countries that we visited. And we were talking about the decolonisation of syllabuses, because when I learned beauty therapy 37 years ago, you had to be qualified in everything. It took 2 years to do the actual degree. You did all facial body therapy, all elements of massage, electrical, advanced electrical. You had to be qualified in everything. And as the years have gone on, everything's been broken down. So we were saying that it's good that the fact that it's been broken down into modules, especially with underdeveloped countries. Now for me, I've had a very blessed career. I have lived and travelled and spent substantial time in some very underdeveloped countries. The countries I talk about are countries like India. India is very dear to my heart. They say Jamaica, I would say, is an underdeveloped country, but only the people, not the country. Because that's like India. All the countries that I've visited, the colonisers still have their claws right in there, in how they suppress the people, the mindset of the people, etc. So it's all always passed down. But white privilege is still very affluent, especially in the beauty business. I mean, I have students that are in Jamaica, beautiful black and brown students, who will say, they want to bleach. Stop bleaching, you're beautiful. It's the white man that's made you feel not beautiful. Ignore him, because he's insecure and has had to suppress you to be able to get by. So I look at everybody as beautiful. But there is this kind of divide and rule and stigma attached that needs to go. So if we're looking at underdeveloped countries, what I find is, depending on the country, depends on how people are taught, but when people come from nothing, in all the years of me teaching, and I do spa consultancy now, which means, for decades I've created and designed world-class spas and hotels and resorts all over the world. Like I said, I've had a very privileged career, which I've worked very hard to get. For me, it's always about paying it forward. I've learned from some of the most incredible people in this business, working with brands such as the Mandarin Oriental and Banyan Tree and Evian Spa and like St. Gregory Spa Singapore, and working in the Middle East and Dubai and Australia, New Zealand, so Japan, Korea. I've seen a lot of things, and the biggest things that kind of stand out when I go to these countries is how colonised they are and how the people are made to feel inferior. And as I've developed my teaching skills, one of the biggest things that I've learned from my teachers, and I have to say a lot of those teachers have been monks, because I learnt my Thai massage in Thailand, traditionally, not westernized and cut down like Europeans do. And you have this love for this business that you have to pay it forward. And when you go to underdeveloped countries and I teach there, I see that a lot of the students there come from very impoverished backgrounds, and their families are so busy trying to feed themselves and clothe themselves that they don't really have a lot of time for love. They have love within the culture, of course, but somebody to truly love them. And I've had to teach classes within my business consultancy, because obviously once I set up the resort, I have to design a spa menu for treatments, and then a training manual, product line, or select a product line, and then I have to train them all, from front of house reception right the way down to therapists, even to managers, spa managers and spa directors and corporate spa directors. Like I said, I've had a very blessed career. I always want to pay that knowledge forward to my students. There is an aggression sometimes with people that teach, that teachers know everything, that we are the dictators. That is a coloniser's mindset. I don't have that approach in my teaching, and I haven't had for many, many years, because we have to encourage and love our students. If people come from impoverished and stressed backgrounds, they don't feel a lot of love. That love in turn gives them confidence. We are in a hospitality business where if we're going to treat our clients and give them a world-class treatment and service, we have to love ourselves and love our clients. That treatment has to be done with love and light, as we would say in Reiki. And before we put our hands on somebody, we have to come with clean hands, clean heart and a clean energy. Because not only may we be treating the skin or the body, but we are treating the body, the mind and the spirit. It all interconnects when we're healing or rehabilitating somebody. So my thing for me is, I see this aggression. Even when my daughter went to school here, not at Glenmore Prep, but in the secondary school, Glenmore High, the teachers had far more aggression towards the students. That in turn creates aggression as a teacher. Respect is earned. Your students have to respect you. But you have to respect your students, nurture them, mentor them. It doesn't just stop in the classroom. It's outside too. And we have to decolonise. And we have to tell students the truth, especially black and brown students, because I was lied to about our curriculum. Europeans didn't discover aromatherapy. Aromatherapy comes from Egypt, as does most makeup, designs of fashion, and that's Africa. And nobody really acknowledges it. They breeze over it, because when you look at certain European countries, they've invaded so many countries in war, seen a treatment or a beauty ritual and thought, I'm going to take that and say I discovered it. Just like people like Christopher Columbus lied, and even governments today, they lie. They don't correct black and brown history. They still follow the white man's narrative, which in turn makes students in underdeveloped countries less confident, because they feel they're inferior to people like myself, and you're not. You're actually superior. So I want to encourage all teachers out there that teach, whether it's in India, Jamaica, go into your classes with a passion for what you love to teach. Don't be a textbook teacher. Make sure that you're always hands-on. I've been a teacher for 33 years. I hold 2 teaching degrees, one from the UK and one from Hong Kong University. And I love my job. I don't feel like I've worked a day in my life. It's never been a job. It's something I love. It's a passion. I love to make people feel good. And when I teach my students, I want them not to be like me. I want them to be like themselves and a better version of themselves and go on and be better than me. We are all equal, and we need to decolonise the mindsets so people can be set free mentally. Because I could cry at some of the conversations I've had with my students here in Jamaica. And having taught all over the world, let me tell you, my Jamaican students are like my pitney. I love each and every one of them. They have worked so hard for me, and I would do anything for them because they show up, they put the work in, they're inquisitive. They're probably the most inquisitive groups of students I've ever met in my 33 years of teaching here. I teach in the private sector, in the Caribbean, as well as in the government sector here. And the government sector of students coming through who may not be paying for their course are very serious. I have taught some incredible young men and women here who are going to go out and make great change within this beauty business and start to tell the truth. And the truth is, Europeans did not discover things like facial and massage. Swedish massage is another adaptation. There are other therapies a lot older than these that were stolen by colonisers after they invaded countries. So we all need to come together to decolonise and tell the truth. Because that truth gives people confidence, because for years the black and brown men have been suppressed. And especially in the beauty business and the fashion business, you don't really see that, as you see more white models or mixed models than you do black and brown models. You know, people are still treated as inferior if they are black and brown, and it has to stop. Because you have so many talented people on this island. And let me tell the world, Jamaica is not an underdeveloped country. The people are underdeveloped here because of the government not wanting to bring them forward. But the cost of living here is through the roof. The minimum wage here is a crime. Nobody in England or America or Europe would get out of their bed for the money that they pay people here. There needs to be an hourly rate that reflects the standard and the professionalism of the job that a Jamaican does, regardless of whether he's a Jamaican, Chinese, whether he's from Trinidad, Bayesian, you know, English, French. It doesn't matter. We are all the same and we should be getting the same equal pay. I'd like to know how certain companies on this island manage to pay big salaries to their corporate spa directors and get away with paying no tax. I pay tax. So why shouldn't they pay tax when they're earning masses? I know this business. I know what the salaries are in this business. And when expats go abroad, I know those salaries. I've been an expat. But the one thing every country I've worked in can tell you is I've always done humanitarian work off the back of it. I've always gone out to see what's needed, and I've always tried to tap into my contacts, whether they be professional footballers, celebrities on TV, to try and do things and make change. When I went to Africa, I did it. When I went to India, I did it. Malaysia, I've done it. Indonesia, I've done it. I don't just go there and work. I go there to pay it forward. I teach here in the government sector to help raise standards here, to help Jamaica come into a global standard, because we have so much hospitality. That hospitality area needs great therapists, and we have some great therapists on this island. But you need to start paying them what they're worth, because in the UK and America, and as me as a therapist, I can tell you, let me share with you the world. If a therapist does a 6-day week here in Jamaica, they're lucky if you average it down. It comes to about 50 pence. Yeah, you heard me right. About 50 pence an hour. The government in Jamaica needs to increase minimum wage. And it needs to be an hourly rate that reflects, because the colonisers here, even the black colonisers here that are following the white colonisers that control the sectors here, are not interested in raising the money here in Jamaica. It's slave labour here. If I don't go under an expat package here, I have to work under a local package. It's hard. I've walked a mile in a Jamaican shoes. So why is there this divide and rule again? Therapists in the UK earn a minimum of about £10 an hour. That's 2,000 Jamaican dollars per hour. People here charge 30,000 for a facial in spas here in Kingston. Never mind, I could tell you about what the charges are in the tourist resorts, even more. And the girls are making maybe $1 an hour. We work hard for our qualifications, very hard. I have studied all of my life. Every year I do something different. If I go to another country, I want to be on the cutting edge of my business, and I am. And I'm a leading pioneer in my business. My resume reflects that, and so does my creativity of the projects I've done and the people that hire me. I'm a very serious player in this, both in the education sector and private, global, corporate, hotel sector. And the minimum wage in Jamaica needs to be risen. I think I'm going to do a petition to try and help resolve that. Because whilst the government here pays themselves and increases, their salary by 300%, the average wage in Jamaica is $13,000 a week. That's about £60 a week. £240 a month. You can't even rent a place here for that. Never mind, feed yourself, pay for a taxi to go to work, put your child through school. It's slave labour here under colonisers. It needs to change. Minimum wage in Jamaica, especially when it comes to therapists, beauty therapists, body therapists, we're worth a lot more than you're paying us. You need to change minimum wage in the spa and hospitality sector for all staff. It's slave labour at the moment as it currently stands. And I come from a first world country, and I'm telling you all that own hotels here in the tourist area, and our tourist minister where does all that money go for tourism? You need to start increasing the minimum wage for therapists here and pay them what they're worth.